Hold on a minute. Hold on. Ah, there we go. Hi, you can actually see everything now in high quality. So, I hope you'll like this new camera arrangement. I got a whole, like, this is a ring light. I don't want to move it around so I don't look bad. And another one. And I can literally holy crap, that's so cool. Anyway. Yeah. I decided I should move away from the 2009, I believe, camera. Let's be civilized. This is what y'all were seeing through. I know, right? It's just a black box. Anyway. Alright, so let's talk some business. Hello, everybody. It is I, Amelia Devier. Hello, ladies, and everything else. Today there's an important video I wanted to make. Specifically about Nocturne Season 2. Castlevania Nocturne Season 2. I forget because it's like a long ass name. So I watched this show with my girlfriend a few days ago, I think. Right, sweetie?
Yeah, it was about 2 days ago.
Yeah, something like that. So we watched that show like 2 days ago, basically. And I gotta say, I am very, very disappointed. It is not a good show. It's really not a good show. I have a few points to talk about that. And this isn't just a, this show sucks. No. It's only half like that. I have actual points right here on my phone. So what's most important about this video is that it's mostly regarding how Netflix in recent years has been dumbing down the scripts because people are scrolling on their phones. That is a through a leaked email, we figured this out, but I was gonna put it right here. So Angel, can you see Angel? She's so cute. So basically, since they have been sort of dumbing down the scripts, there's been 2 shows that I and Alice have watched recently, and it is really obvious that these shows have been made post the dumbing down situation. The Netflix situation is so crazy. So, those 2 shows are Castlevania Nocturne Season 2, it's going to be placed right here, and Arcane Season 2. Now, if you've watched these 2 shows, spoiler alert for both Arcane and Castlevania Season 2, Nocturne Season 2. They are the same show. Not exaggerating at all. They are the same show. I watched both, I analyzed both, and I got my feelings for both. They are the same show. They are sharing so many plot lines that I feel like the scripts are reused. I even talked to one of my friends who's currently glazing Nocturne season 2 for super cool stuff. I'm talking like a hater. Listen, if you watched Arcane, you will notice a very huge difference from the first season to the second season, and that being, you notice that the story stops. You know how that meme in Arcane constantly is like, first episode robbing a house, last episode kill God. Notice? Do you everybody notices that? Do you know why that happens? Because the story in the first season, it's difficult to follow for a normal person. I'm not a normal person. It is difficult to follow because Arcane in season 1 is a show about people. People's stories, to be specific. It starts with people's stories with like Vi and Jinx. That is a story. You know? Then Caitlyn comes into this story. The Hextech stuff is not really the main focus of the first season. It's about Caitlyn, Vi, and Jinx. That's what the first season is about. They're talking about a story that's about that. And Silicon, who gives a fuck about Silicon? And it's good. It's great. I love the first season. It's a good season. Yes. They really robbed us from... Sure, the first season they do a really big won't they with Vi and Caitlyn, but like, you know they will. And then you watch the second season, and the plot has changed so much, because you have like the whole Noxian stuff that's just kind of came out of nowhere. Then you have the like text deck being like the main focus of the story. Jinx is like treated as like a fucking god. She you know what I mean. No, I'm gonna draw a little comparison. I'm gonna say a story, and I want you to tell me which one of these is Arcane season 2 and which one of these is Castlevania Nocturne season 2. This group of heroes starts their crusade after the baddies, and it is the conflict involves the whole world because the baddies are really, really powerful, and the main guys don't really like. We watch the story from the main guy's perspective, that is fully focused on them, and everything ties into this one thing. And then at the end of this story, they kind of just like, it's in big epic battle that kind of looks like 20 people are fighting in the street, and then they're fighting, the good guys are fighting God, and then at the end the good guys triumph and kill God, like that, or with a touch. Which story am I talking about? Can you tell? Because I'm talking about both. Both of these shows, both of these second seasons, have this exact plot line. The Noxian invasion just looked like 20 people. Like, the invasion. Oh, that's my dog. The invasion. Just like 20 Noxians and like a bunch of enforcers and like random stuff. And then like the battle in Paris, and it's like 20 Paris level revolutionaries, and then like the fucking vampires, and like they fight in 1, 2, 3 streets. And then there's like a fucking Avengers level team up, and then everybody fights that happens in both shows. And in both shows, you have the main baddie, the main bad person, who is like, for some reason, getting like teamed on and beat up while they're being teamed on. And it's like, it's just a struggle for the bad guy, and we're supposed to be cheering for the good guys. Like, it's like watching like Roblox bully story. And so it's kind of weird, like, what am I supposed to be cheering for? Like, and then which show am I talking about again? Oh yeah, I forgot, I was talking about Nocturne. Because like, you can't glaze your main villain to be super duper 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 overpowered, but like, you got like this girl and she's applying a debuff, and then like suddenly the main guys can like win. Like, okay, and just like beat them up. It's so weird. Let me read you. It's my girlfriend, by the way. Let me read you a few points that we wrote down. Now, let's say some nice stuff about Nocturne, because this is a Nocturne video. So let's talk about the pros. Alucard. Alucard is a fucking cool character. I loved Alucard in Castlevania. Really cool. Even in Nocturne season 1, the way he just appears and just fucking kills Drolta, which I hate. I hate Drolta, and it's not because I don't like Drolta, because she's kind of like evil for the sake of it. Don't really care about that. But then like Alucard, like, there's this one scene where he does like that really cool like the fireball, and then the light pillar like teleport. Maria in season 2, very good character. I love the fact she had her like Carmilla moment, and then she yells like, "It's stupid old man," and then, you know, the fact that she did, I just want to praise that scene a lot, because I loved it. It was a good scene. The fact that she prayed, the fact that it was one of those moments where, you know, like in media where like, no, don't do it, please, main character, don't kill, it's gonna be so bad, and the main character is like, okay, I won't. Like, that happens, and then like they just like forgiveness, some weird stuff like that. They don't do that in Castlevania Nocturne season 2. I'm just gonna say Nocturne season 2 from now on. She does straight up like her own dad, which honestly, I like the scene. It's a good scene. Go off. And so, I like that scene. It was very interesting, very nuanced type of writing. Good job. Yeah, when she also did that, it was really cute. When she did like the... Okay. Now, another, like, you know, pro for Nocturne. The animation. Yeah, not surprising. It was really good. Like, surprisingly good. They really held the budget for the important fights, which, okay, good, great, but the emotional moments didn't have as much of an impact, since the animation wasn't as good as you'd expect. But they did. They did. For like, you know, Maria's hair when it went like this, like that had good animation, so props points for that too, I guess. So, with all the stuff out of the way, let's talk about the cons of the show, which was shit. I really didn't like. Let's talk about our main dude, Trevor. Trevor is a Belmont. Like, what am I talking about? Cut that part out. That was stupid.
Let me
Richter.
speak. Oh my god.
Richter. Let's talk about Richter, the main guy in the story. Richter is supposed to be a Belmont. Wait a second, did you write Richter or Trevor here?
I wrote Richter because I'm not silly.
Shut up. Anyway, Richter. I expected Richter to be just like Trevor when it comes to scaling and character placement in the story, sort of. What I didn't get is that, sure, if you don't want to repeat the same shit, that's fine, but at least stay consistent with how you have like the scaling in the story. I don't want to talk too much about power scaling, and that's stupid. That's not what I'm trying to say. Is that Trevor in Castlevania was good because he was just a dude, a strong dude, but really a dude. He didn't have powers. He didn't have anything like interesting. He just had a whip, an nene, and a goddamn nuke sword. Okay, that's all he had. And he fought with that because that showed skill and other stuff of that nature. Richter has fire and ice power, I guess. That's fine. You can do really cool stuff with that. And like the storyline in the first season was good. Because like, oh, he couldn't use magic for the whole thing, but then suddenly he can like use it again, and that's cool. The scene on itself, narratively, is nice. Animation-wise, it's peak. And the way it's delivered is amazing in the first season. But then, in the second season, you kind of just get this whole, like... Oh, he's an expert in his magics. And then he's, like, literally, like... super fucking strong, too. Like, he was literally, like... hand-to-hand 1v1ing the vampires, which is like, what is that? What is that coming from? Why is he so strong? Let alone the fucking, like, that one scene where he, like, literally kills the main antagonist, just in the most meaningless, and, like, the last scene of Jolta, where she just gets cut in half, is so pure bullshit. I think it's like one of the worst scenes, or worst ways you could kill your like main antagonist, who wasn't even the main antagonist for the whole time, and just suddenly at the end becomes the main antagonist. Like, what the fuck is this? This is like as if like you're watching like a Batman movie with the Joker, and then out of fucking nowhere, the Joker stops being the main villain, and some like random red lantern or something jumps in and like, I am the main bad guy of the show, actually. Would you watch that? Sure, she was like there from the start, she was super evil, but like all of her whole motives being like random flashbacks at the beginning of like the episode in the second season was like, it's kind of giving like, you know, like the writers just didn't know. It was like, guys, what do? We haven't like given her a story yet. Nobody cares. What do we do? And it's just something that's like, she was hurt that one time. She was hurt so bad that she became evil. I don't give a shit about her. She's just like minion number 2. I don't give a shit. I never gave a shit. She should have stayed dead. And another thing that's similar with Arcane is that they made her like invincible in the second season, as if like, hold up, guys, we get it. In Arcane, you made Jinx invincible for like the first season and then like the second season, and she only lost the fight to fucking Echo. I hate Echo. I know it seems like I hate these two characters with a certain motive in mind. I do not do that. One of my favorite characters in Arcane was Mel. She's the best. Side tangent aside, the thing about Jolta that just I really didn't like is that thing with Jinx too, that they're just until plot decides they need to struggle because nobody feels engaged anymore. Now, if anybody remembers how Jolta dies in the second season, you're gonna play it here, Alice. You're gonna have it right here. And I just wanna say something real quick. Does this remind you of something? It certainly reminds me of something. Yeah. I know. It's a stretch, right? It's totally a stretch. Not like, you know, the whole like Blue Blade, which was, you know, right here. I know the second season is like doing references to the game, but like seems kind of unoriginal. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that they had so much fun service. Did anybody else notice that? I think that's the reason that, like, that's what Netflix is doing right now. It's putting aside all of the important plot, and they're just, let's increase the animation and how cool it looks and how cool the music sounds. But let's get the budget here a bit more. Just make it flashier. Like, I'm not a fan of that. I really don't like the fact they're putting aside everything important with the plot just to make sure we're engaged because it looks flashy. All of these fights that look cool and pretty don't mean anything, and that's what makes them boring. My Hero Academia has some like really emotional fights. Like, it has some emotion behind it because half of the fight they're just talking, oh, for one, and the animation is really beautiful. But that's like really like good animation, good emotion, helps you have a good memorable fight. I remember most of the fights in My Hero Academia. I don't like the show. I just think that like some of the animation is good and some of the story is like kind of like engaging. I'm not a fan. The show fucking sucks. I hate it. It's also a lot of the people in xiahonshu hate My Hero Academia because it's like the creator hates Chinese people. Let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about that right now. So, now, here's a section that I think is not gonna be the most popular. So, I want just the ladies to listen to this. Men can ignore this, like I'm gonna ignore most of this video. I just want the ladies to listen to this. I know it's really unpopular and like society isn't ready to talk about this yet, but this show hates women. This show blatantly hates women. Like, let's be honest. Because that choke scene is disgusting. Oh, it's supposed to make you feel disgusting. No. Whoever drew that is sick in the head. That was horrible. The way they portray this lesbians by making them basically have a harem of these of women and treating them like how men would, like, really? Is that how we peaked with the representation by like abusive lesbians? Something that Arcane already did. Come on. Portraying lesbians as abusers is always like, yeah. Nice one, guys. Nice one. Let alone the fact that every woman in this specific show, in Nocturne, was used to, like, Maria is a summoner. She doesn't fight. Sekhmet, like the goddess. What does she do? Don't be rash. That's what Sekhmet did in the whole fight. What does Esbet do? Black Flash. Black Flash, and she died because she was a horrible villain. Because no one like actually knows how to write women anymore. Nobody knows how to write women villain characters anymore. Like, how do you fall from grace that hard? Castlevania. Okay, let's move away from that segment of talking about the misogyny, the subtle misogyny on this show. Let's compare Castlevania and Nocturne. In Castlevania, you have Dracula, who wants to literally kill everyone for a reason we see, compared to Esbet and Drolta. What's Drolta's reason? Psychotic religious person. What is Moon Knight? You know the villain in Moon Knight? How he like praises like and believes in Sekhmet and kinda wants to do the same thing as Drolta? And how like that's a notification from my phone. Shut up, Rachel. I don't want to make no comparison with a Marvel show, which is like as low as it gets. And that's a good show, by the way. You should watch Moon Knight. It's a good show. Don't you see the comparisons though? Don't you see they're taking a lot from previous stuff and just like reflavoring it? I don't know. Might be even worse than I thought. Let's focus. Dracula in Castlevania, right? His motive, it was something that you could really feel like in your heart. Like, if my girlfriend was like torched at the stake like that, you think I wouldn't be doing the same thing? And I had that power, of course, but like even if it didn't, I would just find a way. Sigma. Yeah, I'll be doing the same thing. Of course, Dracula is so compelling as a character. And at the main fight with Dracula and and Trevor and Cypher and Alucard, you have this fight where they are very much overpowered by the villain, which is what you need to be doing if you want to have like a fight where you're rooting for the teamers. I hate teamers. Dracula is completely overpowered. Belmont can't do shit. Cypher is like knocked out halfway through because we hate women. But then the show decides to kill off Dracula by saying, you know, establishing what we've been told through the narrative for like how many Alice, how many episodes does it take for Dracula to die?
Let me Google that for you.
We'll have to wait 3 days here, waiting for my girlfriend to figure it out.
Oh, shush.
Love you.
I love you more.
Mm-hmm.
He dies at the end of season 2. So.
Takes 2 seasons. Shh. It takes 2 seasons to kill Dracula. Same amount it takes for Drolta to really die and Esbet to really die. Even though it takes a little bit less, I think. I don't know. I'm not gonna research it. This is a fucking rant video. Dracula's death made me cry. It made Alice cry. You're so pretty. Anyway, that was so emotional. I'm sorry, but there isn't much in Nocturne to shake you that hard. Because Dracula's one line where he goes, "My boy, I'm killing my boy." I can't. That's absolute cinema. Like, what can I say? That's peak. That's literally peak. That's so good. That's so good. So good. They did so well. In Castlevania, they do so well with Dracula, and they finish his story there because Alucard kills him because he knows he wants to die. He says, I must already be dead. They peaked in the writing right there. Not really, because it still is really good. I really like Castlevania. It's one of my favorite shows. But that's so good. They pick villain, peak, best. So good. In Castlevania, then after this, like you'd expect, wait, why is there 3 more seasons? 3 or 2? I don't know. 3 or 2 more seasons. I don't remember how many. 4 or 5? It was 5, right?
4.
4 seasons. So 2 more seasons, and you're like, what do they have? What is there to have? But you don't really say that, because Carmilla is something that happens in the first 2 seasons, and the story follows Carmilla because we see the setup for the next seasons. That's a story that happens. We see the setup for one of my favorite character story, which is Isaac. Isaac is my favorite character in Castlevania. He's literally just peak. He's one of the best characters. I think he's the best written character in Castlevania, second to Dracula, maybe. You see how devoted he is to Dracula, and then you see how he evolves from that, from wanting to return back to like resurrect him, but finding new true meaning through how he has one of the rare cases in cinema where you actually see a philosophical character development, where you see a character's ideals shaped and changed throughout the entire story. It's so amazing. I love that. It's crazy how they made me love Isaac so much. It's like, that's how you do a character. That's how you do a really good character. Castlevania, after post Dracula, of course, it has so many main stories that feel like main story. You have the main story with Carmilla, with the villainous Carmilla, with that are like they're doing the whole thing with Lenore and Hector. Fucking hate Hector. Ugly ass, fucking twink ass, fucking get the fuck out of my house. And then you have Isaac's main story, which is so good. And then you have Victor. Am I talking about Victor? Get the fuck out of here. And then you have Trevor and Cypher, who are like going through and like getting rid of like the night creatures. And then you have Saint Germain. What an interesting story with Saint Germain. Then it like gets interacted with like. It's so good. The visuals, the themes. Castlevania is so peak. Then you have Alucard's story, which is like very interesting to see how he goes from being the lonely Sigma he is, and how he like falls from grace, and you know in the shit place he is. And we see his gay polyamorous relationship. And we see how that goes, how he feels betrayed, and how he changes. We see him save the village, and then how that stuff goes back to the castle, which brings our main dudes who've been doing investigating and the whole like trying to figure out what the hell is going on, why there's so many like night creatures, not the night creatures, what the vampires, trying to figure out like what even are they? I don't know, but like it's so good. And then with death, people do say that like that stuff is kind of random, but no, it's not. I have a reason why it's not random. Why death was just completely not random. First of all, he is in the game, main antagonist in the game. The whole stuff with the vampires is they're trying to resurrect Dracula. Not random. And that stuff ties all the way back to Alucard, because everything just goes back to being in that main section, except because there's 2 main stories with the resurrection of Dracula and Carmilla and Isaac. We see Isaac and the Carmilla thing just go off, and first of all, that's how you do a good fight between a regular Deuterino person and a super overpowered vampire. Now, whatever the fuck was happening in Nocturne Season 2, where Mr. Yuji Tadori Black Flash fucking Richter Belmont Mr. Super Blue Trunks, goddamn fucking. He was going toe to toe with Esbeth and Jolta. Come on, this is bullshit. Like, we get it, we get you gonna make like teenage boys watch the show, but like, come on, what is this? This is bullshit. She was exhausted, but fighting a fucking gang. What, she was ganked? That's what it took. It took four bitches from the Bronx to take down Drolta, apparently, who was invincible until that point, and then Esbeth, all like together. And of course, let's not forget the Sigma sword, which suddenly he can do that, and then he cuts her in half, like whatever. When Isaac was fighting Carmilla, it's implied that he has been going on for like hours and hours and hours on end. The ground of the arena they're fighting on is blood. It's a blood lake. It's a blood lake because he's throwing so many night creatures at her. She is truly exhausted. That's why she doesn't one hit him. Because also, Isaac revolutionized the idea of night creatures by making them look people-like. That's very interesting that happens. I personally thought it was because his view of night creatures changed over time. And of course he got better at it, but I prefer that it's like a more like psychological, philosophical thing rather than a perfection of the craft, which you can tie those two things together. You don't really have to not tie them together. You have that happening. You have Carmilla literally killing all of these night creatures in a single swipe, but she's doing that over and over again. She's exhausted. That doesn't happen in Nocturne Season 2. Drolta and like Esbeth, I hope I'm saying that name right, they're literally fighting like a D&D party, a World of Warcraft party, and they keep like not doing anything. No one dies in the final fight. There's no one that dies. There's no fodder that you could say they get exhausted of, and they just get offed like that easily. Like, come on. With Isaac, you didn't even know if he died because Carmilla doesn't get defeated. She does the xiahonshu method and the Vegeta method by just killing herself and just blowing up, because somehow she could just do that. Could just legalize nuclear bombs. Kaboom! There goes your tower, you know? And then you have what goes on with the main story. You know, our main characters, not our actual pre-antagonist, now main antagonist. Turn protagonist, Isaac. This is literally not the main dudes. Such a good story. And you go to the actual main dudes, and it's like Cypher and Alucard and Trevor, and they're gonna fight the vampires and Saint Germain, and the portal stuff. And why is this happening? It's because like Death actually manipulated him and blah blah blah. It kind of gets really iffy here. I know. A lot of people say that it gets iffy, but it was fun. It was really fun. Rose tinted glasses. The main fight continues on very nicely. They try to do the amalgamation with putting Dracula and his wife in one body, which makes the first transgender person. And then, like, it's so good. Let me tell you about how I thought the fight would go between. You know what? Listen. The fight between Death and Trevor is a really good fight. Is a really good narrative, because you have a dude who cannot win against this thing, right? And then you have the fight between Drolta and Richter, and it's like they are literally on par. I know they're trying to do like, oh, look at this, And that was never even an alone fight. It was like, yeah, they're gonna win. They're obviously gonna win. I never doubted that they would win. Because that's the thing, there's no stakes. A lot of it in Nocturne Season 2, the stakes were just gone. Because suddenly everybody's on the same level. The fight with death, it's so good. Because, like, put it right here, Alice. The way he just tries his best to just maybe distract him. Because he has, like, the nuke sword. Something that we saw him pick up. We saw him make throughout the story. We saw it. I remember it. I remember the Easter eggs. Not the Easter eggs, part of the story. We see that happen. And then it reaches the point where, like, is he gonna die? Because, you know, a single blow from death literally just broke his arm. He's like one arm, one morning star, and he's just going at it, right? You see that. You see he's literally just like 2 steps from hell. If you know, you know. And then he does the whole up thing, and he pulls out the sword, and it's like, I thought he died. I genuinely thought they were like genuine stakes. Like he's dead. Like, well, wrap it up, guys. Our main character just died in the last episode. But, you know, they are, you know, locked in, and they're like, they show Saint Germain for a second, so, you know, it's not something they pull last second. He is still alive. He does the portal, and he, you know, Trevor appears 3 days later somewhere else, and blah blah blah. But with Nocturne, the last fight didn't have this edge, this epicness that you like narratively exists. It had cool animation, but it didn't have a narrative. It didn't feel there. It just felt kind of, I don't know, just, I was trying to genuinely enjoy the show, but I couldn't. It didn't feel like there was that much story. Compared to the first show, we're talking about so much story, and I don't know, I'm fairly disappointed. It has many good parts, but I don't know. I just wish Netflix wasn't trying to dumb down everything just so people could enjoy shows while being on their phone. It's depressing, really. Of all things, of all the silly stuff we've been saying this whole time, the saddest thing is that they're not gonna make stuff like this anymore. There's just not. And anybody saying there's gonna be a Nocturne Season 3, what are they gonna talk about? Literally, what is there to talk about? The story's done. Dunzo, they had their happy endings. They literally drove over to the sunset. It's Dunzo. Are we supposed to, like, the next Belmont that is set in wherever the fuck? Like, I don't know. There isn't much there. And I really don't like how liberal the show got midway through. Like, okay, so the revolutionaries, they're crazy. Like, guys, like, we have our main duo, Maria and Richter, and they're like, God, the revolutionaries are pretty crazy with the whole, like, killing the rich people. What is that? Why did they do that? Why did they say that? It just came out of nowhere. It was so stupid. Bad. You're telling me French revolutionaries didn't jerk off to the thought of, like, you know, the beheadings? One cool thing about it? Honestly, don't think I'll be watching too many Netflix shows from now on, since of the whole dumbing down the script situation. Alice, do you have any more words to say? I feel like stretching my legs a bit. I'll just put yourself in the middle.
Alright.
Um, I think Amy is correct, and I think everyone should listen to the things she says.
Okay. Some final stuff. I hope you all liked this video, and like, yeah. I'm actually supposed to be going to my like bakery class right now, but like I'm like 16 minutes late.
Right now.
Shut up, party pooper. Like I'm supposed to go right now, but who gives a fuck? I'm Sigma. Anyway, I hope I mentioned everything I wanted. Whatever. I hope you guys like this video, and make sure to like this video and really like this video, and make sure to subscribe and stuff like that. And I love you, ladies. Bye. I take away your sight.